Angie, I'm Shana Camilleri from the Under-12.
And I'm Shana Camilleri from the Under-16s.
And we've got some questions for you. How different do you think the competition is going to be in Iceland compared to Australia?
And what advice would you give us younger players to someday follow in your footsteps? All the best in Iceland.
Hope we hear from you soon. Bye!
Alright, so welcome back here on Sandy Bay Media to another episode. Make sure to give us a like and a follow. It helps the page out. Today we've got Angie Beard, and we're going to be speaking to her, and Hannah's going to be joining myself. Off to you, Hannah.
We're joined here by Angie Beard, who's a professional footballer. At the age of 23, she's now playing at Icelandic side KR Reykjavíkurc. Angie started her professional career as a footballer with W-League side Brisbane Roar back in 2014 as a 17-year-old. In 2017, she made the move to Victoria to Melbourne Victory in W-League and played the winter with the NPLW side Calder Utd. Tonight we'll be looking at her journey that she's taken so far and where she plans to go. Without further ado, join us as we speak with Angie. Over to you, Rohit.
Cool, thank you. So Angie, how did you get involved in football and why did you get involved?
Yeah, so as a child, I always played sports. I was a pretty active kid. I played touch football, basketball, cricket, all those types of stuff. And when I was 12, my primary school best friend and I were going to different high schools, and we still wanted to hang out. So she was already playing at a soccer club. She was like, why don't you just come down and join my team and we can play together and still hang out. So I went there, signed up when I was 12 years old, so just starting high school. I played there for, I think, 2 or 3 years. My best friend ended up quitting soccer. She didn't like it anymore. But I ended up staying around. And then it became a more serious thing for me when I joined the Excellence program at Marsden State High School.
Yep.
I have a football program there that really focuses on technique and developing players to go to state leagues and national teams, representative squads. And I think when I was 13, 14, I started to take it a lot more seriously, started to create goals for myself, such as W-League, junior Matildas, stuff like that, and just progressed through high school, trying to aim and achieve all those goals that I set.
Brilliant. Now we're going to head over to some of the juniors for the questions they've asked us.
Hi, my name's Leah and I play for the Under-16s, and I was wondering what motivates you to be such a good soccer player.
Hi, I'm Sienna from Under-12 and I was wondering what soccer player inspired you growing up.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Strucklick, and Angie, I was wondering, who was your biggest influence growing up playing football?
Okay. So motivation was, obviously when I was younger, it was just the enjoyment of it. And I'm a pretty competitive person. So I like to win and I like to be the best player on the field. As I got older, I think, obviously making the Olympic squad, making the World Cup squad is the pinnacle of playing soccer. And I think, to be the best, you got to aim really high. And it doesn't matter if it takes years and years to get your goals. I think as each W-League season progresses and each off-season that I'm working hard, I'm getting closer and closer to those goals. And that's what really motivates me. So in terms of being a junior player at Calder, maybe what's motivating you is, you're having fun with your friends, or you want to make the senior squad. And then you're playing, high-level football in Victoria in the NPL League, and you never know where you can just keep resetting and resetting your goals. The player that most inspired me when I was growing up was Tamika Butt. She played for Brisbane Roar and she was also in the Matildas.
Yep.
Her work rate and her technical ability very impressive and inspiring. And I think I remember I was 15 or 16 and I hadn't made the QAS squad yet, and I went to watch a W-League game and she was walking out of the change rooms, and I remember I was cheering and yelling, and I remember asking her, I was like, hey, Tamika Butt, can I have your jersey?
Yeah.
And I didn't end up getting a jersey, but then, a couple of years later, I ended up getting my own Brisbane Roar jersey. Yep. So I think that is pretty cool. There's a side-by-side photo somewhere. There's me as a 15-year-old taking a photo with her, and then I think there's one photo of me and her when I've actually signed for Brisbane Roar, and just when I look back and look at those two photos and the differences there, it's pretty awesome to look at.
The 10 Calder team. My question is, what was your favourite position playing when you were my age?
Yeah. So I didn't actually play football when I was 9 or 10. I didn't start until I was 12 or 13. And I think I was left-footed, so they kind of just put me on the left wing.
As they do.
But growing up, kind of just anywhere along the front line, midfield type area. It was pretty relaxed football that I was playing back then. So I think I had a bit of freedom.
Yeah.
I was quick and I was a decent player. So I think they didn't mind if I just ran around everywhere. But probably scoring all the goals is always fun.
Oh, yeah.
What was your experience playing football as a 17-year-old in W-League with Brisbane Roar?
Yeah, it was pretty daunting at the time. I was coming into a squad that had, I think, maybe 10 or 11 national team players. I had Polks, Laura Alloway, KK, Tamika Butt, Hayley Rasso, Larissa Crummer, just a whole array of W-League players and national team players. And in goals, I think it was 3 or 4 months before she won the Ballon d'Or, Nadine Ungara was in goals. And I'm coming in as a left back, playing next to Polks, playing behind Hayley, playing with Nads in goal, trying to speak to me and give me advice. Honestly, that was just very daunting, but it was a lot of learning from a lot of experienced players.
Did you feel pressure at all?
Did I feel scared?
Like pressure?
Yes, I felt pressure. I had a lot of high performing players around me, and it's my rookie year. So I'm trying to, stay on that level and produce performances that, would shine out to a coach. In a team that has a handful of national team players, I'm trying my best to stand out in that. So that was pretty intense, to say the least.
Yeah.
Speaking of pressure, in that season, so in that 2015-2016 year, was an absolute standout for yourself. You were with the Junior Matildas, 3 national caps, in World Cup qualifiers for the Junior Matildas and Young Matildas, Brisbane Roar Player of the Year, Brisbane Roar Players Player of the Year, and 2015 Young Footballer Year of the Year, NAB Football of the Year nomination. How did you deal with all the pressures and expectations?
I didn't really have any pressure on me that next season. That whole season I was playing, obviously the first season was full of national team players. The second season was Melbourne City's first season in the W-League. So they kind of snatched up all the good national team players and kind of stripped a lot of clubs of their talent, Brisbane Roar being a big one. So I ended up going from 1 year playing maybe 90 minutes in total to the next year playing every single minute of every game, in a squad that's trying to rebuild itself and, make finals. I didn't really put that much pressure on myself at all. I just went out and tried to play every game to the best of my ability. I didn't think that I was nervous. I was just going out there having fun with my friends, just trying to make the most of the opportunity. I think it's very lucky and it's very wild to have a rookie season where you're not playing much at all to a second season where you're literally, as you said, a standout player. I never really thought of myself as a standout player. I kind of just went out there and played. I was very surprised when I received all these awards. Obviously, they mean a lot to me now, but at the time, I didn't really let it get to me. And then as the years have gone on, the same thing applies. Awards are amazing and they mean one thing, but at the end of the day, it's how you perform.
Exactly.
That's what defines you as a player, not what's sitting in your trophy cabinet. It's how you're playing.
Exactly. It's all about the game and what you put on the park rather than the accolades.
Exactly.
Hi Angie, I'm Maria. I play for the 14s, and I was just wondering what kept you motivated for all these years.
I think it's still because I haven't, solidified a spot in the national team. I have two main goals in my footballing career.
Yep.
And to win a grand final with the W-League, and it's to make the national team and go to play at the Olympics or the World Cup. Either or. So that's what's keeping me going. They're two very big goals, but I'm very determined to meet both of them. So I'm not giving up anytime soon.
Brilliant. Awesome. Hannah?
So looking back at this piece, you're NAB Young Footballer of the Year for November. How far do you think you've come since then?
Thrilled to get this kind of recognition and exposure, especially as a young player. I just definitely think that I'm getting more comfortable in my role as the fullback, getting forward and tracking back runs.
Angie Beard, another one of the Queensland Academy of Sport. She's made a great run in behind, just a quick little tap, deceivingly quick, and she's done well.
I definitely like to get forward, dribble, take some people on, but I really focus on my recovery runs and getting back and helping out my other. To read a fair bit, I like to go to the beach, have a bit of a swim. I really want to learn how to surf. I've only stood up on a board one time though, but hopefully that improves. As a player, I want to possibly make international team as I get older, just improve and develop, get a bit more recognition as well, and just keep consistently starting in the 11.
I think a lot. Obviously, I was a young player, still developing, still growing, and I still am a young player growing and developing, but I think technical ability has definitely grown. My professionalism has become a lot better than before. And I think just the fact that as I get older, I know I'm still 22, 23, but since being an 18-year-old, I think my leadership abilities on the park has definitely grown. I think especially when I made the move to Melbourne Victory, my presence on the soccer field, in the changing rooms, at the training grounds, I think that has definitely been my biggest improvement. Trying to be a leader, trying to influence a team on a level that's not just how I'm playing, but also my, personality, my attitude that I bring to the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's probably the biggest improvement.
How much do you think you've actually learned since then as well? And do you have any standout moments that you probably could pick of how a learning moment?
I think playing alongside Claire Polkinghorne was probably the best thing that could have happened to me as a junior player. She's, a legend of the game, and just the little things that she does. She's not, you wouldn't say that she's an incredibly quick or fast player, but she reads the game better than anyone that I've ever played with. So she'll know what's happening 5 seconds before it's happening. I think that that's a great tool to have in soccer.
And the big question is, have you learned how to surf yet?
I have learned how to surf. I surfed, learned in Melbourne. I went a couple of times, and then last year I went to Bali and I surfed a lot over there. Definitely been it. And there's not much surf here in Iceland, but I'm confident on a board.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Phoenix and I'm from the Under 10 Girls Calder team. My question is, how many goals have you kicked in one game? Thanks.
I think last season with Calder, the most I ever match was maybe just a hat trick. But I think in my younger years, I think I was breaching 4 or 5 goals a game. Not so much anymore playing as left back in the W-League, but yeah. I'm doing my best.
It's brilliant. So speaking of W-League, Victory and Calder, what made you come down here apart from Melbourne's great weather and the coffee?
Going from Brisbane to Melbourne, I don't know if I would say it's great weather.
Brisbane's beautiful.
It's Brisbane's a pretty high standard. But originally, so when I was first playing in Queensland, I had coaching experiences with Jeff Hopkins, the W-League Victory coach.
Yes.
And he's a great guy. We have a great relationship now. And I felt that in my last year at Brisbane Roar, I was becoming a little bit complacent. I needed a challenge. I needed a change. And Jeff asked me to come down and play for him at Victory.
Yep.
And I like, why not? I'm 18, 19 years old. I've always travelled to Melbourne and thought that it was an amazing location to like holiday in. I moved down there. The first 2 seasons were pretty rough. I think we came 7th and then we came 6th. But then in that 3rd season at Victory, we brought it together. We won the premiership plate and we made it to the semi-finals. Unfortunately losing, but that's probably what made me come is Jeff Hopkins was a main influence and the city of Melbourne was probably a big influence as well. And I've made a lot of great friends there now. Shout out to them.
Over to you, huh?
All right. I've got one that's a little bit off topic. I just remembered it. Semi-final, I think it was. There was a certain moment in your career that probably daunts you to this day. It's the penalty. I think.
I mean,
you want to talk me through that?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's not an ideal way to end a semi-final, losing. In hindsight, I'm 18 years old. I haven't taken a penalty before in a professional standard. No one wanted to go last. I already had a pretty good game, and I felt like I was playing well. So I just thought, you know what, I don't really mind. I'll go last. Obviously, lining up. I can say it now because it's been years. I was actually aiming for the bottom left. Now it's like the ball. I kick it, and the ball is just lifted up.
The left footed thing.
And hit the crossbar. I mean, I don't regret anything at all. Obviously, it would have been better to get it in, but at the end of the day, I think it was very brave, and I think I've learned a lot since then.
Oh, yeah.
The worst part about it is I've now been in 3 semi-finals and I've lost them all, which is
rough.
Yeah, last year we came 2nd and we versus Sydney and we lost 1-0, but the week before we smashed them 3-0. So that
you played well that day too. I remember watching that game.
Yeah, and then the year before versus Perth and we beat them in the last round, versus them in the semi-final, and we lose to them in the semi-final. So that's probably the worst part about how it started, me missing the penalty and losing that semi-final. It's just kind of like a curse or something.
Yeah. And Lisa Devanna, I remember her coming up to you and giving you a bit of words of wisdom. How was that for you, considering she was such a big player at that time?
Oh, that was awesome. She's also a big influence on me. Left-footed, obviously, very quick. Once considered one of the best players to ever play for the Australian team. And she's doing well now as well. I know she was over in Italy for a while.
Yep.
That was pretty awesome. I had Lisa Devanna obviously came over and talked to me, and then Claire Polkinghorne came over and talked to me. And that was very, very special. I'll be honest, I can't really remember what was said to me. I was pretty distraught. I think I was in a state of shock, so I can't really remember, but I just remember how I felt being spoken to.
Yeah, awesome. All right, and what made you decide to make that jump to Iceland, and how was it made possible? It's not really every day you see or hear an Australian playing in Iceland.
Yeah, I've always wanted to try my luck overseas. I think it's a great experience, especially when you're looking at elevating your game and trying to crack into the national team. International experience is awesome. In terms of this move in particular, I know that another Australian player was supposed to come over here and they pulled out of the spot. My agent, Ryan, Úrvalsdeild, he contacted me and he gave me kind of just a quick decision. He said, you have a week to decide if you want to pack your bags and come over to Iceland and play. And at the time, the league in Melbourne was starting to shut down because of COVID, obviously.
Yep.
And I'm actually really happy that I did make the move, because now
Yes.
I wouldn't be able to play any soccer really, at all. So I just packed my bags, started booking flights, started doing all my paperwork, which was a nightmare trying to get out of Australia.
It would have been.
Yeah, but then I made it here. Took me a week to self-isolate, 2 COVID tests, and now I've played 3 games in 8 days. So it's a very big transition. But I'm very happy that my agent made the connection and got me over here.
Hi Angie, I'm Shana Camilleri from the Under-12.
And I'm Shana Camilleri from the Under-16s.
And we've got some questions for you. How different do you think the competition is going to be in Iceland compared to Australia?
And what advice would you give us younger players to someday follow in your footsteps? All the best in Iceland.
Hope we hear from you soon. Bye!
Yeah. Probably the main thing, there's 2 things that are really hard for me over here that I'm still getting used to. One is obviously the language barrier. So in terms of my team trying to communicate with me how to play halftime talks, when we huddle up before the game and do like a cheer or something and people are saying things, obviously it's not really coming across to me because they're speaking a completely different language. And then on the field when I'm playing, I'm lucky enough that most people speak very good English, but still sometimes I just hear Icelandic and I just have to guess what they want me to do. And then the other thing that's a lot different is the physicality over here is intense. I have bruises all over me. The game on the weekend, I got hit in the face and ended up having a blood nose. Now my nose is still a bit puffy. But it's the physicality over here is very tough. Everyone's very aggressive in their playing, which I don't mind. I don't mind playing a bit aggressive. I mind a bit of, shoulder bumps, all that kind of stuff. But they're probably the 2 biggest differences.
Yeah, I think that's a great experience, especially pushing for a national team spot, being able to match it with the most physical players in the world goes a long way.
Yeah. I don't think there's any, secret formula to making a professional team, or do I think that there's any shortcuts? I think at the end of the day, you just have to work hard at trainings and then you have to do extras as well. I don't think anyone makes the professional league or anyone makes a national team without doing extra. So if you think that just rocking up to training and playing games is, the only thing that you can do, it's not. You can always be doing more. You can always be getting in the gym. You can always go out and practice your shooting or practice your dribbling. Get a friend or 2 and just practice passing long balls or, your accuracy. That's probably the main thing that you can do is just put in the extra work.
Fantastic advice. Hannah, did you have any last questions?
I did.
You good?
What would probably, has there been any major setbacks in your career and how have you sort of recovered or got up from them?
Major setbacks. I've been pretty lucky with any injuries, touch wood. I've been pretty lucky, but I think when I was 19, I got a really bad foot injury. It's called a rank fracture. It's a bone or ligament in your foot that helps your arch stay upright. And I was in a moon boot for 3 months, and then I was rehabbing for another month. So that was pretty bad. But other than that, I think I've been pretty lucky. Obviously, last season as well in the W-League, I was playing with a broken wrist. I broke it when I went over to South Korea to play in the Asian Champions League.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I was in a half cast for I think 6 or 7 rounds of the W-League before I fully recovered. But it's all good now.
Get up and grind on.
Okay. We're gonna have to wrap it up. Otherwise we'll be here all night. It'll be 11 a.m. by the time we finish up, or p.m. in our case.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us. Thank you for your
That's
time.
all right.
And thank you for the Icelandic lesson. We've learned a few words.
probably but
that's fine. And hopefully next time we have you back, we can have a conversation on Icelandic and touch bases on how things are going.
Yeah, we'll see about that. No promises.
That's all right.